Welcome to this week's episode of the Etsy Conversations podcast. I'm your host, Ijama. And right before we start this week's conversation, I just want to ask that if you would like to support the podcast, please go to convome.com/support. All donations go toward the operational costs involved in producing this podcast, and I appreciate your support. And now, onto the episode. My guest this week is a returning favorite. It's Nicole McKinley of Palm to Pine Design. Nicole was last on the podcast back in June of 2021, episode 320. If you haven't listened to it, and by now you should have, I will have a link to it in the show notes for this episode. Nicole, thank you so much for coming back to have a catch-up conversation, and welcome back.
Yes, thank you. I'm honored you brought me back. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, I am so thrilled to have you back because I often wonder, how people are doing after our conversations. And, with the changing landscape of business, I know things change from time to time. Some people go from strength to strength and some people kind of drop off. So I'm always excited when I see former guests who are doing even better, and I'm always happy to have you back on. So welcome back. Now, June of 2021, when this airs, it will be just over a year since that episode aired. What have you been up to between then and now?
Isn't that crazy? It seems this time warp. I can't handle. Seems like just yesterday. Man, I've been staying busy, 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 but in a good way with lots of work and lots of fun. So it's summer. I have my two kiddos home
Yeah.
and we have just been totally enjoying ourselves. So yeah, we had moved last we spoke. We had just built a house during the height of the pandemic. That was insanity. So we have been here about 2 years now. So we're still just really, we've got a lot of property. We're just enjoying being here. We've kind of turned into homebodies. We've got a big old garden and chickens, and we we're just really loving life here, and work is still going very well.
Yeah.
So
Do your kids ever ask you what you do? Or, I mean, I know they don't worry about money because they're probably still too young, but do they ever wonder like how you're able to be so present with them all the time?
yeah, we talk a lot about that actually. We talk pretty openly about how I'm very, very lucky to be
Mm-hmm.
able to do what I do. We
Mm-hmm.
talk about how, there's stay-at-home moms that their job is to be a mom, and then there's some people like me that work from home, and
Yeah.
some people that own their own business from home. So we've talked a lot of levels, and other friends who their moms leave the house, and yeah, they definitely know. And we talk about how it's really cool that I can help support our family financially with what I do. So they're very aware
Oh,
of that.
cool. Cool.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, because I think at very early stages and ages, you know, even if we don't always have outright conversations, I think kids observe what they see around them, and that forms what their norm is. So for your kids to see that you can run a business from home and be successful, but at the same time, be able to, be free to, spend summers together and travel, or, be outside with the animals and not worry about things that eventually they'll hear other people worrying about, like with finances and all whatnot. You're laying a good foundation for them fiscally.
Yeah, and that's my daughter is she's turning 9 this year,
Mm.
and I am trying to raise a very strong-willed child, which
Yeah.
she does very easily on her own. But yeah, I just want her to know that She has the freedom and the choice when she grows up to do what's right for her and choose the path that's right for her, whether that means full-time stay at home, work from home, a
Yeah.
corporate job. That there's a lot of possibilities for women, and she definitely knows that wasn't something that was always possible for women. And
Mm.
people like me and you are changing the generation so that she
Mm.
has that freedom when she gets big. And I think that's pretty cool and pretty important.
Definitely, definitely. So, as far as Etsy goes, has anything changed in what you're doing? Have you scaled up? Have you scaled back? Or is everything just pretty much running like a smooth engine?
I did laugh when you had asked me to come back. I was like, "Gosh, what have I changed over this year?" Like, because a lot of it is still the same.
Yeah.
We had talked about the birthday banners, and that's still a big majority of my business. But then
Mhm.
I was like, "Well, you know what? I have done a lot. I have two part-time employees now, and I think I had them started when you and I spoke last, but I have been able to kind of mold them to take over more parts of my business, which has just been absolutely amazing, which has allowed me to play this summer, right?
Right.
Um, so I have a gal now that's helping me with I've actually taught her my design programs. So she's
Oh,
helping to
cool.
personalize. So yeah, I'm still doing all of the actual designs, but
Design.
she's just going in there and changing the names and
Okay.
helping with that. And that has freed up so much more time. So I was able to, I finally got a new website made this year. So I have my own Shopify website.
Nice.
Um, yeah, and amazing designer on that. We'll link her in your show notes. I'd love to give her some business. She was the best.
Oh, for
But
sure.
yeah, Kelly helped me with that. And so having the employees has really freed up my time to do the other projects in my business that I've wanted to get to for a long time. So that's been great. So I actually have grown a lot this last year.
Oh, good for you. While we're on
Yeah,
the
thank you.
topic, what is Kelly's website? She's your Shopify website designer.
Yes, she's AME Creative.
Is that A like Apple, M like Mary, E like Edward?
And I actually found her on Facebook in a mom boss Facebook group, which I am not typically one to join those, but I just needed to find someone, and I spent all this time trying, and there were no good fits. And I found her. Yeah, she commented on one of my Facebook things, and we instantly hit it off. She
Nice.
just super knowledgeable, and she made that giant project manageable. So that was huge. I mean, I'd put off designing my website for years. So yeah, it was finally nice to find a fit for that. So
Nice. So what was
yeah.
it about Kelly that instilled that confidence in you? Was it just her breadth of knowledge, or was it something? Was she just willing to help without making the ask for the business?
It was definitely for me the knowledge,
Mm.
all the questions that I had, because I had very specific questions, because my Etsy has been, the backbone of my business for so long,
Mm-hmm.
and all the work is done on Etsy. So,
Yeah.
I needed something to transfer, and she knew a lot about that process. She had worked with other Etsy shop owners before, and every question that I had, she immediately, she either knew the answer, or I'll get right back to you, and just
Yeah.
incredibly detail oriented. So I just felt very confident with that whole process going through with her.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So I
So
will
the
have.
majority of my business is still on Etsy.
Yeah.
We're growing the website on the side, but
Mm-hmm.
as as most Etsy owners know now, the fees
Yeah.
went up again. And so I always wanted just my eggs distributed in a couple other baskets. So I have no intentions of leaving Etsy anytime soon, but it's nice to have an alternative backup just in case also.
Okay. And Nicole, tell me again what her website is. I just want to make sure that we have it.
A it's AME Creatives.
Okay. All right. So I will put a link to that in the show notes for this episode. So anyone who wants to check her out, and I think it's reassuring that she has worked with multiple Etsy sellers in the past. So
Yeah.
I think that takes care of a lot of concerns one might have.
Yes. Yes.
Do you ever get into the back end of your Shopify, or she handles everything? How do you guys do that?
I do the back end. Kelly has been, if I have questions, she's been quick to answer and help. But when that was one thing that I wanted the control of that. So I run the website now primarily. And yeah, every now and then I reach out. Can't figure this out. Can you help me out here? And
cool. Okay. So now the other person that you hired, how did you find her? Was it also in a mom boss? Was it a mom boss group or some other way?
That was the original Facebook group. Both of my employees that work for me, I actually found just through my personal Facebook page. And as a lot of people know, when you're trying to scale up, it's really hard to start outsourcing if you don't have the steady workflow.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kept reminding myself, like, remember when I was a mom and I started this business, and I didn't necessarily need the consistency, but just a small break in my day was such a gift. And I've always felt that my business has been a gift for me. I love being a stay-at-home mom, but I also love having a break from my children. And that's what this has done for me. And so I finally just put my big girl pants on, and I put a Facebook post out, and I said, I need, a mom is primarily really what I'm looking for, that wants to work from home, anywhere from 1 to 2 hours a day. And I had like 3 random friends that one of the gals I went to high school with, one of the friends tagged a friend, and within like 10 minutes, I had both employee positions filled. It was crazy.
Wow.
I was not expecting that. Honestly, I was like, whatever, I'll just throw it out there. And yeah.
How did you train them? Had you already put systems and processes in place that you were able to just hand over, or did you have to spend time creating like I don't know what the word is, like a type of document, so they knew how to do things in the way that you did?
Kind of both. So one of the gals is local, and she's the one that I've been able to teach my design program to. So that's been nice that she's local. So she comes to my house. She helps me paper cut and package, and I love her for that. And then I've just been able to teach her in person. So as I'm working, she's kind of looking over my shoulder, and we just have our design notebook that we take notes for. And then the other gal, she's still in Washington, but she's on the other side of the state. And when she started, I just trained her over Zoom, and we just kind of did the screen share, and I just walked her through. And I also have just a Google Doc file, exactly what you said. And I just did screenshots of the steps that I take. And she was able to take the ball rolling within just a couple days on that. So.
Okay. For anyone who is thinking of expanding in that way, what additional advice would you give them, to just so they're aware or can be well prepared to start bringing in additional people?
I think for me, reminding myself that I can get back to doing the things that I love about my business, the creative part of my business, where the work that I've outsourced to them, really anybody can do. So the more time I'm spending doing that, I can't put my actual skills to use. When I'm just filling orders and doing the mindless work and the paper cutting, that's just taking away the time that I can use to actually grow my business.
Yeah.
And I think that's the case for a lot of people. Think about, or just the part of your job that you don't like, which part is the part that you'd rather never do again. And I think most creators have that. And finding someone, those people are out there. Like I said, as a mom myself, um, I really do kind of think it's a gift to be able to bring a little bit of income to your family,
Yeah.
but still be a stay-at-home mom. And so if you find someone even, hey, I just want someone to come for 2 hours on a Wednesday and help package or, whatever part of your business that you can have, just those baby steps. And when you start to realize how much freedom it gives you and how much work you've been doing all by yourself all along, it was a really nice change for us.
Yeah. It sounds like it really freed you up in more ways than one, not just physically, but then also creatively too, which I think sometimes we do get bogged down. I think we get burned out because we're not doing
Yeah,
the parts that we enjoy the most, the parts that we started all this for.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. In the summer, I've had my Etsy shop for 8 years now, and I pretty much work 7 days a week. Just hour to 3 or 4 a day. I'm not working
Yeah.
8 hours a day at a desk, but most part I work 7 days a week. And having my assistants now, before if I were to take a day off, then when I'd come back, I'd have double the amount of orders and double the amount of
Yeah.
work. And now I have people to help kind of run that. So it's like I can actually take the afternoon off and really disconnect. And
Yeah.
when I get back, I know that work is done and I'm not going to come back to a giant mound of work.
Yeah.
And that itself is just such a blessing.
Yeah.
So
Now, speaking about just having a business that you're now so comfortable in, you feel comfortable walking away and not worrying and really taking,
yeah.
the mental break from it. You have a philosophy about how you like to run your business. Can we talk about that? Like, and just what philosophy drives how you go about running your business and just keeping things under control and still growing at the same time?
Yes, yes. When I actually hired my employees, I said, you're a mom first and you're a person first, and then do this. So, our kids get sick and we need flexibility. And I want to treat them the same expectations that I have for myself. So, oh man, I just got invited to a last minute barbecue. I'm like, go to the barbecue,
Yeah.
always spend time with your family first if that's what's filling your bucket at the time.
Yeah.
And, that's always been a priority for me. And like you said, I'm still been able to grow my business. And I think part of that is because I really am able to take the time to connect with my family. And then when I come back to work, I I have a full tank to do that.
Yeah. Yes. Now, you know how rampant hustle culture is. And
Yeah.
there's a big movement to be everywhere and do everything. Even though now I feel like, there's more talk about, okay, you don't have to be on every single social media platform, but where you are, whichever one you choose, go hard and go strong and hustle, hustle, hustle. Um, but you've taken a different approach to that. How do you balance doing what it takes to keep your business going strong and also not getting wrapped up in, just chasing everything like, a lot of businesses do?
Yeah. Well, and you hit the nail on the head earlier when you said burnout. Like just listening to you describe what the social media, the actual running your Etsy shop, like
Mhm.
there's so much and there's so much content and there's so much noise to just more, and
Mhm.
you've got to post 3 times a day and you've got to respond for 15 minutes after you post and you
Yeah.
need to pin 74 images a day and then you need to repin. And if I listened to every single thing that we should be doing as a business owner, I would need 10 full-time employees. I mean,
Yeah.
it's insanity. It's a full-time job to just create content on social media. Um, So I think that those tools are there when I have the capacity to use them. So, if my kids they were at soccer camp or camp this week, and I had an extra 3 hours this morning, and I went and scheduled all my Facebook posts, and it was wonderful. So I've got 2 months of Facebook posts scheduled out, but you know what? I hadn't posted for a month before that, and I'm just not going to beat myself up about that. I really won't.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. Did you have a turning point in your business where you decided, okay, enough, I'm not going to do this anymore. This is not how I'm going to run my business anymore. Or was it just something you just gradually incorporated into how you do things?
I think gradual. I think
Okay.
that the older my kids get, and while yes, they gain independence as older, we can do fun things as a family now. And so it's always about prioritizing and choosing. And I'm an Enneagram 7, and I'm always going to prioritize fun. So, um, yeah, I think that I also have learned to be gentle with myself.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that now that I've been doing this for long enough too, I also know my momentum,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that I enjoy what I do. I enjoy my work, and I know that I will have the drive, and it just might not be right now. It might not be this week, or it might not be this month. And I've learned to kind of be gentle with myself because I know that's going to come back.
Yeah.
And so instead of like, okay, I've got to do social media, I've got to do Pinterest, I've got to create 5 new banners, and I've got to update all my list, the never ending
Mm-hmm.
list. I have a Trello, and I have all my tasks on Trello, and they're all just kind of long term. And when I get a spark of energy or creativity, which comes and goes, I just bust those things out. And when I'm not feeling it, then I'm not beating myself up for that,
Push it.
because I
Yeah.
know soon that it'll come
It'll
back, and
come
I'll
back.
I'll be ready to work. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. I like the calmness that you have around your business. Are there any particular tools or resources that you found that have helped you to streamline your processes? I know you just mentioned Trello, and for anyone who doesn't know, Trello is like would you call it a project management tool that just helps you to organize tasks and your to-do
Yeah.
list?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a task manager, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I actually started using Trello kind of when my assistant Kathleen came on, because it did allow, when she started working more, it did allow me to get to some of those back burner projects that just float around in my head all the time.
Mhm.
And so that was one of the things I did. And I love it. It's super satisfying because you have like 2 or 3 columns. You can set it up how you want. So I have a column that's my long-term tasks. Those are my big goals, like
Mm.
getting my banners sold at local party shops,
Mm.
doing some commission deals with some Instagram, party bloggers. Those are tasks that take me a lot of mental energy and time.
Mm.
So I've got my long-term goals, and I've got my short-term goals, and that's sometimes just like, okay, designing a farmer's market birthday banner. I love that theme, and I don't have one. So that's on my short term. And then when you finish it, you get to move it over to the finish column, which is super satisfying.
Yeah.
And so that's constantly moving and flowing. And then I have a board for my assistant as well. So if she has any questions, as I'm training her, new design things are coming up, and she's working from home. So she's got a tab that are the things that we need to go over. So when she comes to my house in person, we can just pull up the Trello board, and we can go through the weeks of the questions and the training. And then we don't, we're not forgetting and skipping all these things. So
Okay.
that's been big. And just the same thing, it's taking that mental load off. So instead
Yeah.
of just constantly having my brain in
Oh,
motion about the millions of things I want to do for my business,
yeah.
I put it on my Trello app, and then I just bless and release it until I'm ready. And sometimes when I sit down, when like I said, I know myself and I know that my passion and energy will come back.
Yeah.
I'll sit down and I'll read through that list, and there's always something like, oh, okay, I want to do that today. Like, let's take that project on.
Yeah.
And so that's been really nice. And like you said, the calm, it helps me not feel like I'm just in a hamster wheel constantly working.
Yeah. Yes. I like the idea of keeping your brain free too, because
Yes.
I know the feeling of having so much in your head that you want to do, and then it's almost like things start seeping out, and then you forget, till
Well, and we're humans. Like, when we have so many things on our list, what do? We end up playing Candy Crush or like scrolling Instagram, right? So
yes.
it's like, it kind of helps prevent that overwhelm where
Yes.
you're just like, oh God, I've got too many things, and I'm going to get on Pinterest and just zone. So it's been a good tool for me.
That's so true. Now, is Trello a paid tool or is it free?
I'm using a free version, and that's more than enough for me. I'm assuming it probably has paid once you get farther into it, but the freeze worked brilliantly for me.
I'm so impressed with all the tools that have this freemium, and sorry, I know this is off topic.
Yes.
This freemium format where there's so much you can do in the free version that you almost don't need to pay. And I often wonder, well, how do they make their money? Because I can get everything I need to get done. Like Canva is one of those. I now have a paid Canva account, but before that, there was so much I was able to do with the free account. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
Random thought.
No, I agree. But I mean, ads, for the most part, they make their money on ads.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. So Nicole, to summarize, let's talk to that mom out there who's feeling a little bit discouraged because over the last year, her business has not grown or it hasn't reached where she would like it to be right now. What advice, in summary, would you give her? Any tips that you would give her? You've shared a lot of good information already, but can we just talk to that person who might be discouraged right now and is just looking for some help?
Yeah. And right when you asked that question, my immediate gut response was, do you need money to support yourself? Like, is that the goal of your business? Or are you feeling discouraged because you're comparing your business to Instagram and, these giant shop owners that have employees and workers and everything going on behind the scenes? Like, are you comparing your beginning to someone's middle or end? Or are you trying to financially support your family? Because that's a very different thing. So I think if the answer is that you have some idea of what you want it to look like and it's not getting there, to really kind of look at what you're measuring your success. What markers are you using? Is it something internal that you have a goal, or is it something external because the hustle culture of the momhood that you're seeing, I need this side business and I need this gig? Because like I said, I enjoy my business. And if you're looking at your business as a little escape or something to do or a hobby, then does it need to be making thousands of dollars? Obviously no one's going to turn that down, but what are you measuring your success by? That would be my immediate response to that mom.
I like that.
Find the joy, right? Find the joy in your job.
Yeah, I like that. And you're right, because sometimes if we don't know what our goal is, it's easy to be discouraged by just looking around at other people who, their goals might be different than ours. And, where there's a mom who might be doing this and the hobby money would be nice, looking at someone who is, you know, who is a lot more successful, but is that way because they need the finances, puts things in perspective.
And I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I have to ask myself and tell myself the exact same thing, you know, because I'm very happy with where my business is. I'm I like where I'm at, but I find myself too still even looking like, oh, I should get my products in Target, or you know, there's always something more. And
Yeah.
I think it's important to just be content in the now. And
Yeah.
this will be a big year for me. My kiddos are headed off to school, and it'll be my first time with two kids in school. So I've always
Oh,
said like that's kind of been my marker to when I am going to be able to double down on my business, because I'm going to have a lot more time to do that.
wow.
Um,
And
and yeah.
just for perspective, the day we're talking, you're almost at 28,000 sales. So I can't even begin to imagine what doubling down would look like for you.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I bet it will be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nicole, how best would you like folks to connect with you, or where would you like them to go find you online?
All of my handles are Palm to Pine Design. And I know that's always a mouthful. So it's palm, like the palm trees for my love of beaches, to pine, which is the pine trees for my love of the mountains design. So Palm to Pine Design. That's my website. That's my Instagram, Pinterest, all that good stuff.
Great. So I will have links to everywhere. Well, the places that you mentioned, and including your Etsy shop in the show notes for this episode. Thank you so
Thank you.
much, Nicole. Oh, no, you're welcome. Thank you for coming back and giving us an update. I've just enjoyed hearing what's going on with you and how things are progressing, and just knowing that you're doing well and you've, hit a stride, and good luck with this new year and all the changes it will bring in your business and your life, as, you have more time to, like you said, double down on your business.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
You are most welcome. And I thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast. I will be back with another one next week.